Hi second graders, this is Miss Godley. This week in Social Studies we are learning about famous Americans, and one of the famous Americans we are learning about is Thomas Jefferson. So today I'm going to read a little bit about Thomas Jefferson so we can get to know more about who he was and why he's important. So this book is called People of Character, Thomas Jefferson, A Life of Patriotism. And it is by Tanya Leslie. And this book was published by Bellwether Media. So let's get started. Thomas Jefferson. Is your country a great place to live? Patriotism is loving your country. It is also giving your time and talents to make your country a great place. Thomas Jefferson was the third president of the United States, and he was a patriot. He spent much of his life helping the young United States succeed. So when he was alive, the United States had just become its own country, and he did a lot of work to help make sure that it was a good country and that it was a successful country. He was also our third president. Thomas was born in Virginia in 1743 and came from a well-known family. As a young man, he studied to be a lawyer and worked in government. He was very smart and an excellent writer. He could explain important ideas about how government worked and how it might work even better. People respected him and saw him as a leader. At that time, Virginia was part of the 13 colonies. Many people came to the colonies from Great Britain. They wanted the freedom to practice their own religion and the opportunity to build a better life. So Great Britain is the group of countries that it includes like England and Scotland, so you may have heard of those. The colonies were ruled by Great Britain. The people in the colonies became angry because Great Britain made unfair laws and forced them to pay high taxes. The colonists wanted to make their own laws, but Great Britain did not want to give up its power. So you might wonder what taxes are. So I'm going to go to the glossary in the back and look up the definition to help. So taxes are money taken to support the government. This conflict grew into a war between Great Britain and the colonies in 1775. It was called the Revolutionary War. It was a fight for the independence of the colonies. Many colonial leaders felt they needed more than weapons to win the war. They also needed strong words. They needed to tell the world they were starting a new government. They needed to say their government would have its own fair laws. So when the book says they wanted their independence, that means they wanted to become their own country. At that point, they were still ruled by Great Britain, and the people who were living in the colonies, which is now America, wanted to have their own country with their own rules and laws. The leaders asked Thomas to write these strong words in a declaration. Some leaders shared their thoughts and ideas with Thomas. He combined their ideas with his own and wrote a declaration. Could Thomas explain the important new ideas using pen and paper? Could Thomas write the words that would start a brand new government? So a declaration is a written statement or an announcement that's done in writing. So this Declaration of Independence was an announcement in writing saying that the 13 colonies would become its own country. He did. Thomas wrote the Declaration of Independence. It said the colonies would be independent from Great Britain. It also said all men had equal rights and the government should always protect these rights. Everyone agreed Thomas's words captured the spirit of the new America. On July 4th, 1776, the leaders accepted it. Many leaders signed it to show their support. After the Declaration of Independence was signed, it took many years of fighting before the colonists won the war. In 1783, the war was finally over. The colonists had won their independence. They could now begin forming the government of the United States of America. After the war, Thomas continued to devote his life to the United States. He became vice president and then president. He died at the age of 83, 50 years after writing the Declaration of Independence. Thomas is remembered for being one of the first and greatest American patriots. There are many famous monuments in his honor. But you don't have to go far to see Thomas. Look for him the next time you see a nickel. So Thomas Jefferson, his face is on a nickel. He is also, his face is part of Mount Rushmore, which is a famous monument to a few presidents that is where their faces are carved into rock. And then there's also the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C., which isn't too far from us. And that is the end of the book. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you again soon.